Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video tutorial about American Law Reports. American Law Reports are one of our favorite resources in the library. You'll also hear them referred to as ALR. We also like to refer to them as Already Done Legal Research. And that is because an ALR simply contains an article with really in-depth citations to other research resources. So you'll basically be able to find a lot of great content on a particular point of law by using an ALR as your starting point. ALRs not only contain articles about specific points of law written by practicing attorneys, but they also include case citations listed by jurisdiction. They include citations to relevant statutes and regulations, citations to related law review articles, treatises, legal encyclopedias, and other research resources, as well as references to the West topic and key number information, which can take you into even more case law and more content. There are two ways to access ALRs. You can either use them in the print or online. In print, we do have the 5th, 6th, and 7th editions in the law library in the general collection, and a librarian is happy to help you learn how to use them in print. There's an index that goes with the volumes, and they're fairly easy to use. But more likely than not, you're going to be using them online. There are two places where you can find ALRs online, both in Westlaw Next and Lexis Advanced. ALR is a product of Thomson Reuters, so it is easier to use in Westlaw Next, but I will quickly show you how to access the ALRs in both Westlaw Next and Lexis Advanced. So let's start with Westlaw Next. Westlaw Next, when you sign into it, you'll see all of this content, cases, statutes, regulations. What you want to actually go to is secondary sources, because ALRs are secondary sources. And when you sign into secondary sources, it's the first thing in the list, American Law Reports. This is the fastest and easiest way to get into the American Law Reports through Westlaw Next. You can do a general search at the top, or you can go into the advanced search. The advanced search will help you construct a really specific search using all of the phrases or words that you need. So we're going to search for ALRs related to termination of parental rights. So we're going to search for deprived and children. And the phrase termination of parental rights. And notice the search that I've built. And I've put in both deprived and children in all of these terms. And that built it at the top search string for me. And I put in the exact phrase, termination of parental rights. And that was automatically entered into in quotation marks. So we're going to be searching for articles that contain the words deprived and children and the phrase termination of parental rights. There are 186 ALRs that actually come back with these results, so you may want to narrow your search further. ALRs are published chronologically. Many of them are updated, but it's always good to sort the ALRs by date so you get the most recent ones if you're looking for a really recent ALR topic. When you look down through the list of items, you can kind of scroll and you'll get a quick summary of what's available in each ALR that you're looking at. So let's take up this one, number 10, parental mental illness or mental deficiency as grounds of termination of parental rights. And it's important to note that ALRs are written about very specific points of law, so you may not find one that's precisely on point, but that's close or that's related, and that's still going to get you to some really good content. So we're going to select the title. When you open up the ALR, you're going to see the original publication date. Oftentimes these are updated with new case citations, so don't let that throw you off unless it's particularly old, but you can look to see if there are new updates. You'll get the title of the ALR and then the author's information. And the author is always a practicing attorney or judge. You'll get a quick synopsis of what's contained in this ALR. But if you scroll down just a little bit further to the table of contents, these are really the things that you want to look for. So the first part is the article outline. This is going to show you everything that's actually discussed in this particular ALR article. And what's nice is usually you don't need to read the entire article, but maybe a couple of sections, so you can kind of quickly get to the information that you need. If we select one of these sections, it's going to take you to that point in the ALR. You'll notice that things are highlighted. These are other resources that are cited and that you could use for your research, and a discussion of that particular point. If we go back up to the top of the document, what I really want you to see is the table of cases, laws, and rules, and the research references. When you select Table of Cases, this is going to list out cases by jurisdiction on this particular topic. Federal cases will be included. If there are federal cases on point, they would be first, so usually it starts with the U.S. Supreme Court, then appellate courts. This is a state law issue, so most of these cases are going to be state law decisions. And then you can scroll down until you find your relevant, your jurisdiction that you're researching in. So you'll see as there are no Oklahoma cases that discuss this very particular issue that are cited in this ALR, but if your jurisdiction were in Oklahoma, if it were another one, you could look at these other cases, or you could use these other cases as persuasive authority. After you get through the table of cases, then the article begins. But going back up to our table of contents, if you look at the research references available, this will give you a list of the West Key numbers that are on point, so you could use this to find more cases, other Westlaw databases to search, the ALR library, other ALRs that are on related topics that you may want to take a look at, citations to legal encyclopedia sections on point, so if you need a little bit more background information, you can look at those encyclopedia citations, and then references to other secondary sources. So forms, law reviews, treatises, all of those things, if there were citations that were on point, they would be included in this ALR. So what you see is that you have this very precise discussion of a legal issue and in-depth research already done for you. So if you can find an ALR on point really for any legal research issue, a lot of your background work is already done and compiled for you, and that saves you a great deal of time. You don't cite to ALRs, you just use them to find other references. So that's quickly how you find ALRs in Westlaw Next. We'll take a quick look at Lexis Advanced. When you go to Lexis Advanced, probably the easiest way to get into the ALRs is to actually search by source. So if you go to the top where it says Browse by Source, then you can select American Law Reports as one of your sources. And what Lexis Advanced requires you to do is really to build a set of search terms and filters for their search. So I'm going to search for that. When American Law Reports pops up, I'm going to add this to one of my search filters. And you can add more if you want to. You can go into categories, practice areas, recent favorites. So this is one of my recent favorites is ALR. And I've already added it as a filter, so this is going to be my filter. So I'll run for this search, deprived and children and termination of parental rights. Notice that Lexis Advanced pulls up a few more ALRs on point. So you can look at the articles in here. The attorneys are listed, so if there's a particular attorney that you're interested in, you can see if they've written an ALR on that particular topic. When you open up an ALR in Lexis Advanced, you'll see the same content, it's just organized a little bit differently. So look for that index of key terms, the table of references, and the jurisdictional table of statutes and cases. This is going to be that table of cases that we just looked at in Westlaw Next. It's just organized a little bit differently. Well, thank you for taking the time to watch this video tutorial about using American Law Reports. Please stop by the Law Library if you have any additional questions.